No tricks. No tricks by the stuntman. Okay, cool. Let's go here. So by default, if you're just new to it, we'll play a 5-minute, no increment, unrated, unless you say otherwise. I'll play faster time controls, but the slowest is just a 5-minute. Alright, let's go. Quit your talking. Quit your talking and get playing. Move your pieces. Move your pieces. Let's see what this is all about here. There we go. Okay. Game 1 against the stuntman. Knight f6. And, well, what do we do? We need some more information here. I've been playing this quite a bit. For both sides, actually, where I would just go with the kingside fianchetto. This universal setup, basically. Kingside fianchetto with d6. And I've been doing that, actually, against the computer. The beatable computer, but still difficult computer. So I have a lot of practice. And I'm stuck all of a sudden. What do you do? To watch out for this. Let me go with c6. c6, and now, yeah, let's get this in, because I'm pretty much saying, well, I could have already said that. When I play c6, it's going to now be my e5, my e-pawn that strikes at the white center. So I'm looking for this setup. Establish a pawn on this square, and, well, depending on what it is white does, I might want to go an additional step forward. So I believe now I just go ahead and hit at these three guys. And let's see how white reacts. If capture, I'm going to recapture with my pawn. Well, I better do that, otherwise I'm dropping this. And if push, that was another other thing I was going to say. If push, I think I just keep things closed. If I take, then I run the risk of what? I run the risk of maybe falling behind with development, actually, because this is not the most convenient arrangement here for my queenside pieces, is it? If I take, the position's opening up c-file, namely, and this bishop is ready to come out. I want to avoid that. So how do I make progress? What is the pawn break I could maybe get in? b5 or f5? Which one is more likely of the two? Usually b5 is a bit more difficult to get in when this bishop is on its classic diagonal, but it's not. Is there a way to exploit this diagonal? Ooh, wait a second. There might be. I could maybe snip this pawn. Knight takes f5 with e4 to follow. Wait a second. Tactics here? Out of nowhere? You see, my mind was not directed in that. I wasn't in that mindset right away. I was looking at pawn breaks, but what about tactical opportunities against this rook? Knight takes, pawn push. Knight here, I have to worry about a fork on this square. It's not really working out. I think this is purposeful. So maybe I could still get this in. I believe it'll just be parried with the developing move. But I think this is just a good thing. Not only flight square for my king, but also just keeping a knight out of g5. Okay, now I believe this is working. Knight takes, pawn push. Followed by pawn push. I'm going to go... Oh, man, I shouldn't have done that. I miscalculated. I have to run with that. It's okay. I believe I do get the piece back. But one thing that I did forget about is that guy. That just fell. Yeah, you're going to want to hang on to that d-pawn next time. Well done. Well done. You're going to want to hang on to that guy next time. So I'm going with the variation now that's officially dropping a pawn. Oh, what a start. What a start. Yes, that knight is... Well, I'm actually happy to see this knight go somewhere. Wait a second. Do I have to take him? What am I afraid of? He's not a... Wait, I'm going to win a piece now. Chop this knight. And then take the rook. You just take that. Let's take that guy. I'm on the bishop. There's no rush for taking this clown on c8. What's he gonna do? Grab on a7? If I take this rook, the bishop takes the pawn, hits my rook, and hits my bishop in the corner. I can't calculate all this. This is too much calculation for the first game. One, two, three, four, five, six. I better take this and run back. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be down material. Bishop takes pawn. I have to come back. Pretty sure. No, wait. What am I talking? No, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be up the exchange, but it's still gonna be balanced material here. Now I'm down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, my opponent has a minor piece and 2 pawns for the rook. So, interesting imbalance. Who stands better now after the smoke clears from all these in-between moves? I really don't know. That's a great question, but I'm not going to be answering all the questions I ask. Let's pre-move that, right? I could do that. Who's going to stand better with this imbalance? This, I believe the bishop has to take, and then the knight has to run away. Yeah, he definitely has to run away. The queen giving a check, I don't know if I'd be afraid of that. He's got to run away. Actually, he's going to be trapped or he's going to be sidelined. Okay, check. So, I just block with the queen. Everybody knows I'm a fan of queen exchanges. So, we're now in an endgame land. This is a connected pass pawn, so I think ideally I'd like to have my knight right there. To basically say, you will go no further. You will stop right in your tracks. It also will stop the queen from, or yeah, the queen. Stop the bishop from seeing clear. Now, how do I recapture? If I do it with the rook, it stops knight d6. If the knight gets to d6, he could then run away to b5 because he comes here and is hitting the pawn, and once he's there, he could run away. I'm not trapping him. But what about rook takes queen? This is the last really big thing for me, I think. Rook takes queen. Knight has to move. King bumps over. I'm going to try that. Actually, I'm going to go with this. I'm going to attack the knight like that. If the rook defends, I come over and attack it again. If the pawn, I think the pawn eventually has to defend. I'm going to play here. I think that's best. So that I don't... Eventually this pawn has to move and there's going to be a bishop check or something. I am guarding this. The knight has to move. I think I could pre-move that. So now... Oh, that's just dropping stuff now. That knight is cooked. So now I'm just up a full rook, and it's much, much easier to pre-move. Okay, now this rook is going to be a beast. Can't stop this rook. I'm really experiencing a smooth mouse. A really smooth mouse, which is very rare. Let's just come over here. Could pre-move that. And this, it's pretty much at the point where I could pre-move everything. And actually on ChessCube, okay, good game. On ChessCube, if you pre-move right, pretty much not even a 0.1 seconds could come off your clock. Which I don't know if that's the greatest thing in the world. Alright, good game. Let's back up. Flip this board. Clearly you saw some calculations on my end. The white end, This is a very good setup. Don't really have any suggestions at this point. Nice center. I have to break at it, or I have to crack at it some way. E5 is the way to do it. Again, C6, as soon as I'm doing C6, if you're playing on the white side, you're seeing your opponent do this. Know that this has to be challenged at some point. Especially since, as black, I'm allowing 3 pawns to just control the center like that. You have to strike at them in some way. So if it's not going to be the C pawn, it's probably going to be the E pawn. Although, I guess this is also a possibility, D5. But, anyhow. E5 was it, D5, and now I close things up because, again, I'm not really the side that's going to be able to do what? To complete my development quicker. So I went with C5, and now a miscalculation here. I should not have done this. So there's some miscalculations that I first had and then my opponent had. So I'm the first one to commit an error. I shouldn't be going with this tactic because I think white does well in this variation after F5 to take on that square. And now in response to E4, what is it that white should be doing? How about this? Just move the rook right away. Don't take this because the continuation I go forward with is one that should end up how? It should end up where we have that imbalance. But you can do better. Don't get into an imbalanced position. Just get into one where you are up a pawn. And I'm still having to show compensation for it, and I simply don't have compensation for it. So don't take this bishop. In fact, one thing that you could do, it's something that I've emphasized quite a bit in my videos, and it's when you have your opponent in a pin, don't take pinned pieces. That's like a line I've said quite a bit. Don't take pinned pieces. Well, this bishop in chess terms is not pinned, but you can kind of view it like that because a pinned piece is one that can't move. In this instance, the bishop can't move. It's usually the case that the bishops in chess pin the knights. I'm regarding this position as the knight pinning the bishop in a weird way. But anyhow, in this position, rook b1 is going to be best, and I think then the best I could do is just take the knight. You recapture, let's say, with the queen. And you could always, in the next turn, grab the bishop if you really wanted to. Or, excuse me, after rook b1, pawn takes knight, I believe it's important to take with the bishop so that there is not a knight move with tempo on the queen that would allow queen takes knight. So rook b1, pawn takes knight is best met with then, I believe, pawn takes, or bishop takes pawn. I can't move the pieces, so there's some mental calculation. Rook b1, pawn takes knight, bishop takes pawn, and if the knight moves here, then you grab the bishop. After the smoke clears, you're just up a clear pawn, and a very significant one at that, a connected d5 pawn, connected pass pawn on d5. So with this sequence, this is now going to be a problem. And at the very least, right now, I think just run away with the knight. Because now with the queens being challenged, or even I guess you could have considered knight d6 right now, since the queen is pinned, but this starts to now become a problem since you can't make use of d6. At the end of the day, you're going to now have to push this pawn, and once you lose him, I think it's very difficult. Yeah, you definitely have to. Well, you can't move the knight at this point. Yeah, why was I thinking during the game you could move the knight? He's in a pin, so this is a problem. Your best way out is to just run away right now to d6, and then we still have an interesting game. But now it's me just being up a rook very soon from here, and time wasn't really an issue. Okay, good game to Stuntman. All right.